Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, to my peoples and my guys, look alive, look alive. It's your boy Act Reacher or Judge Galvatron presiding. You are all my witnesses and jury. You may all be seated if you're not seated already. Court is now in session. So, Eddie Hearn says that Deontay Wilder could lose to Charles Martin. Eddie Hearn believes that after Deontay Wilder's most recent interview with 78 Sports, shout out to him. Please go to his channel and subscribe if you're not subscribed already and watch the interview. That Deontay Wilder has lost his mind. Eddie Hearn also believes that because of Deontay Wilder's most recent outing against Fury a year ago, that Charles Martin has a great chance of beating him. Eddie Hearn believes that Charles Martin hits harder than Tyson Fury, which may be the case. He still can't do the stuff that Tyson Fury does. And he also believes because he's a southpaw, it may be a little awkward for Deontay Wilder. Eddie Hearn also mentioned the fact that of the injury that Wilder sustained in that fight. Eddie Hearn, if anybody lost their mind, it's you. And we're banging the gavel on you right now. Not only that, I think you made it to night court, Eddie. Make sure you wear your Sunday's best, please. We pressing charges on you. We the people have spoken. Seriously, Charles Martin, you didn't even bring up somebody like Frank Sanchez. I even think that F.A. Ajaba would be would do better than Charles Martin would. And then he brought up the whole Anthony Joshua fight. I believe that was in 2017 when Anthony Joshua first captured the IBF title. Charles, do you not remember how Charles Martin acquired that IBF belt? He won it off a vacancy and the dude got injured in the fight. Then y'all paid him whatever he wanted to go over to the UK just so Anthony Joshua could challenge him for the title and get a title. Because before that, check the stats, Anthony Joshua was in the rankings for the WBC. He was on the way of fighting Deontay Wilder. So we probably would have got that fight and we wouldn't even know who Anthony Joshua was. My whole thing is this, Eddie Hearn. I understand you bringing up the Dent situation. Now, that's medical. That's completely different. But outside of that, what chance does Charles Martin have? He sits right there. He sat right there for Anthony Joshua. He going to sit right there for Deontay Wilder. I think Deontay Wilder could have had 3 dents in his head and still dealt with somebody like a Charles Martin. Come on, man. That's wild disrespectful, Eddie Hearn. No. Definitely putting the case on you. Definitely. You believing that Deontay Wilder is through and things like that when the man didn't even come back. Let me tell you a little story, Eddie Hearn, that you may not know. Once upon a time, there was a Texas fighter that was born in Long Island. He unified the titles. Everything was lovely in Dallas and in Texas, and there was peace in the land. Then the Texas fighter got into a car. The car flipped over 1,000,000 times. He got ejected out of the car while the car was rolling. He was in the hospital, had lacerations on his face, scars on his body, teeth out, and he sat in the hospital and had what alcoholics refer to as a moment of clarity. He was thinking about his life in retrospect. He came back with determination. A lot of people and critics didn't believe that he would be the same coming back. Came back a year later and made mincemeat of this Philadelphia fighter named Danny Garcia. The end. Isn't that a beautiful story? Now, I know this is a different weight class, and I know that we're talking about two different people, Wilder and Errol Spence. I believe that Wilder has that same determination to come back. I actually think Deontay Wilder has more of a reason than Errol to come back stronger and harder than he did before. Eddie Hearn, if anybody lost their mind, it's you. If anybody lost their mind, it's you. You believe that Deontay Wilder is really through. And you also believe that Mark Breland really believes that. Let me tell you something, what happens when two people are mad at each other. It doesn't matter if it's guys and guys. It doesn't matter if it's girls and girls, or it doesn't matter if it's a guy and a girl. You tend to say shit that you don't mean when you're mad at somebody in the moment. Now, look, I'm not saying that Deontay Wilder or Mark Breland have any type of regrets about either things that either one said to each other. But all I'm just saying, keep this in the back of your head. When people are mad at each other, they do tend to do and say things that they really don't mean. Or sometimes you get the truth. It could balance out both ways. Mark Breland is gone. We accepted that, and we're over that. We want Wilder to get back in the ring. It's been a year almost, I believe. I don't remember exactly. It's February. I remember they fought in February. I don't remember the exact date that they fought. Somebody, you know, after the video was done, if you could enlighten me in the comment section, I would very much appreciate that. But my whole thing is Deontay Wilder, that power ain't going nowhere. Suckers is still going for the right hand. You know how they say every day a sucker's born? Well, every day there's a sucker that's going to fall for the right hand. And Charles Martin might be that sucker. And I'm still in agreement with the path that Deontay Wilder is taking. Wilder, do what you got to do, bro. Don't do no more heavy lifting. Let them two idiots fight each other. Get the winner after you beat Charles Martin, because Charles Martin is number one in the IBF. And I know that you could, after you dust him off, I know that you can end up like somehow getting a mandatory spot and hollering at the IBF. I'm sure they would have no problem with that. So get yourself a mandatory spot. That way, we don't even gotta worry about all of this ducking game and stuff like that. And I remember Wilder saying that in a recent interview that, you know, he could take that route. You know what I mean? That way you can't duck at all. That way you can't duck at all. People saying that Deontay Wilder don't want to fight, or they questioning that if he could get medically cleared to fight. I'm gonna go with the way he sounds. It sounds like he's going to be able to fight. I'm not going to say that I'm 100% sure. I'm not going to say I'm 100% sure, because if it's a dent really in his head, I can't imagine, because I got a neurologist myself. I can't imagine a neurologist saying that it would be okay for him to fight unless they have to perform some type of surgery if they can. I'm not too familiar with, dents in people's heads and stuff like that. I might research it and maybe do another video on that. But I want the best for my brother Wilder. Like I said, I may not necessarily agree with every single thing my bro is doing, but ultimately, me and him both want the same things. I want him to capture his titles back. I just feel like the heavyweight division don't even feel right without my boy Wilder having one of the belts. And like I said, I think the route that he's going is very smart and intelligent. You know what I mean? Get a mandatory spot. That way, they're going to have to fight you unless they're going to have to come up out that belt. But knowing these dudes, I'm going to end up putting a case on them, because if one of them wins, especially if Fury wins, I feel like he's going to retire, because he's going to feel like, oh, I had all the belts at once. You know what I mean? Let me ride off into the sunset. No, Fury. No, that's not how it goes. Get that man his rematch, but he's known to be playing games. Almost makes me want to root for Joshua to win a little bit. Almost makes me want to root for Joshua a little bit, because I know Joshua still got a little bit more left in the tank. But I feel like if Tyson Fury wins, he's definitely riding into the sunset, and we ain't gonna see him again. Mark my words. If that fight do happen and he wins, he's riding off into the sunset with that $200 million, and we never gonna see him again. We probably will in the streets of the UK, you know what I mean? Because he probably overdosed. God forbid. I don't wish that on nobody, because he might have so much money he might not know what to do with himself. Like I said, God forbid, because he has kids and he has a wife. They didn't ask for a crazy father, and she didn't ask for a crazy husband. I'm sure he probably wasn't acting like that in the beginning, but she got stuck with him. What could you do? So my whole thing is this: Deontay Wilder, stay on the path. Put together the missing pieces that you need in your camp, since we're starting everything over. I don't think that just Malik Scott and Jay Diaz could get us to the promised land. I'm sorry. But I do think, you adding something else to it, mixing it up in the pot like gumbo, you know what I mean? It'll definitely work for you. And I think definitely, too, prep for going on the inside. Just in general. Just in case you face another opponent that's trying to come forward, kind of like Tyson Fury did in the second fight. Yeah, he cheated, but, I'm just saying, just work on that inside game, brother. And honestly, I think after that inside game is complete, I mean, there's no reason why Wilder can't get back his world title. I mean, I just don't think that the heavyweights is that good to where Wilder, won't ever be able to get a belt again. I'm sorry. I just don't believe that. These ain't no 1970s heavyweights. We ain't talking about Jimmy Young. We ain't talking about Muhammad Ali, young George Foreman, Oscar Bonavena. Who else? I gotta keep going down the list. Ron Laws. What's my other boy name? Kenny Norton. Even Larry Holmes. We not in a crop of heavyweights with dudes like that from the 70s and the 80s. Even the 90s heavyweights, that crop of heavyweights, David Tua, Mike Tyson, Lennox Lewis, Evander Holyfield, Razor Ruddock. Like we ain't even talking about that crop of heavyweights. So that's why I think Eddie Hearn is outside of his mind for thinking that. It's not that, it ain't that era of heavyweights. It ain't that era of heavyweights. It ain't that era of heavyweights. Deontay Wilder could definitely reclaim his title with this crop of heavyweights, especially with his power. The only heavyweight that moved like that to me is Fury. But he's beatable. I seen it in the first fight. Very beatable. It's time for us to start showing and proving and stop all of this talking in 2020. It's time for us to make these matches and show and prove. Because I look, I gotta be honest. This January and this February, it hasn't been the greatest. I can say I sound a little bit ungrateful, but I gotta be honest with you. Even this weekend, I mean, those fights is all right, and the only reason why I'm happy is because Joe Smith Jr., you know, my Strong Island brother, my Long Island brother, he's getting a title shot. You know what I mean? Again, but this one is actually a one that he could possibly most likely be winning. So, you know, like I said, as far as the matchups that have been going down so far, hasn't been the greatest. But there's hope. There's still time. And I believe that in time, if Deontay Wilder is cleared to fight, he'll definitely get that belt back. It's your boy, Ak Reacher. I never steer you wrong. Shout out to the mighty LDBC and the full Berserker clan. Court is now adjourned.